It's Fantasy Football 101 on Sports Radio 1450. Call now. Mark Graham, Adam Stark, Eric Pedigo, and Nicorelli are standing by to take your calls on Fantasy Football 101 on Sports Radio 1450.
Good morning. Welcome to Fantasy Football 101 on Sports Radio 1450. Adam Stark alongside Eric Pedigo, Mark Graham, and Nicorelli taking your phone calls at 529-1450. It is week number 4. Hard to believe, season's flying by already. I have yet to win in my fantasy leagues.
You're struggling. There's no question about it. Hey, you know on that intro it says call Mark, call Adam. You know, depending on what advice we give out, I'm worried about what they'll call us.
Well, we're just getting started, and it's fun already because we're in a bye week now. There's a lot of teams that are sitting, so a lot of guys are sitting, and there's a lot of injuries. That injury list is getting longer and longer by the week, and we have a lot to run through as far as that goes. And you can log on now where we are streaming live at sportsradio1450.com. We have a injury update list on there, and I think we might add to it before the show is over because every time I get on the computer, there's another guy that's questionable, another guy that's doubtful this week. And that's key, especially with the buys, though. So guys really want to know who they can pick up, who they need to drop, who they need to play, so we can answer those questions at 529-1450.
As you guys can attest by I'm showing you now, I'm almost getting writer's cramp from the injury list.
Oh, yeah.
It's just ridiculous how many players, and like Adam alluded to, listeners out there, remember, Detroit, Indianapolis, Miami, New England, the Giants, and Seattle are on bye weeks. So please check your lineup. There's nothing worse than when you go and check how you're doing Sunday, and all of a sudden you've got 2 players on there that have bye next to them. So really check that out. And like Am said, also check the 1450 website and for the injuries, and I'll even update that probably later on today. But yes, there are a lot of them.
SportsRadio1450.com is the webpage. You can also vote on the poll question, what is the most important position on your fantasy football team? And this is something I was talking to Nicorelli about off the air earlier this week. My defense is my leading scorer right now in one of my leagues. So, hey, maybe defense is the most important.
Whatever it takes.
Apparently it's working really well for you.
Yeah, all 0-3 in both leagues.
That explains right? That explains the 0-6 overall. Your defense is your number one. That's scary. Who's next? Your kicker?
Nah, he's up there. He's definitely up there.
Man.
But see, that Tennessee D's been coming through big for me.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to come through big again this week, too, by the way.
Yes, they are.
Playing Minnesota, who doesn't have a quarterback. Actually, his name's Gus Farrat, but he's Mark's age, so I don't think he's going to do that great against Tennessee.
Low blow.
He's not that old.
To the jugular, man.
He's not quite that old, but yeah, he's ancient. He's got gray hair, no question about it.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, though, Mark Bolger out in St. Louis. Donovan McNabb is questionable. Brett Favre is now questionable. So let's kind of run through some of the injuries there, Mark.
Okay, we've Roscoe Parrish, receiver for the Bills. Darrell Jackson, another receiver. I've got a couple defensive guys in here that's going to make a difference. Al Hurst of Green Bay and Atari Bigby. The reason that's big, they play Tampa Bay, and that will give Tampa Bay a little bit better option in the passing game. Unfortunately, Joey Galloway, Tampa Bay receivers, out again. Justin Fargas out. Marcus Colston, of course, out. Shockey out a couple more weeks. Willie Parker out. Doubtful Kevin Curtis. L.J. Smith is now doubtful, which is bad news, Adam, for you. I know you got questionable. McNabb's questionable. Westbrook is. Laveranues Coles, Favre. You know Favre will play, even if he's got to come out with a crutch. And David Patton, of course, is out another couple of weeks. And there's a bunch of more guys who are on the list too. I mean, it's just gobs of guys. So you've just got to be careful who you play and put in on your lineup.
529-1450 is the phone number. We already have a phone call, so let's take that. Good morning. You're on Fantasy Football 101.
Yeah, I've got David Patton as questionable. Did you say he's out?
No, he's what I think what they consider is highly questionable. The groin injury, from what I've read, is he didn't practice at all this week, even though he's still on the questionable list. I'd be real scared to plug him in. If you've got another option, I'd go with him. I just don't think he's going to play from everything I've read this week.
How about Braylon Edwards and Jonathan Stewart?
Stewart's a little iffy, questionable. Edwards sounds like he'll play.
Edwards is playing.
Yeah. But Patton, be real careful with Patton.
Yeah, definitely stick Edwards in there. Last I saw, though, I thought Jonathan Stewart was going to play, too. 529-1450 is the phone number. Let's take another phone call. Fantasy Football 101. Good morning.
How you guys doing?
Great.
Fantastic.
I'm good.
I got a couple trade proposals that I'm weighing. I've got Tony Romo, Sage Rosenfels, and Kurt Warner as my QBs. and I've got Marshawn Lynch, Michael Turner, Jonathan Stewart, Felix Jones, and Brandon Jackson as my backs. I got one guy wanting to trade me Anquan Bolden and Selvin Young for Michael Turner, and I've got another guy wanting to trade me Larry Fitzgerald for Warner. I'm in second place, and I'm just, I don't want to make too many moves because I'm kind of stuck and the injuries are happening, but, I'm also willing to deal.
I would definitely do Fitzgerald for Warner. Definitely. If you're already sitting on Tony Romo, you don't need Kurt Warner on your bench. I mean, and Larry Fitzgerald is a top-tier receiver, so to me, that's an easy one.
Between the two that he gave us, I'm like you. I really like the Fitzgerald for Warner one best.
Yep.
Well, I think with how stacked his lineup is, I think there's no reason to do both of those trades, really. The other thing is, though, that Bolden also popped up on the injury list this week.
He did. I saw that.
That might be, a little questionable for this week anyway, but I think any one of those trades works for that guy because he's got a stacked lineup. He's got plenty of room to move there. He's got 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs. I mean, it
Must be nice.
I couldn't even write fast enough. What was his first trade proposal?
It was Michael Turner
remember?
for Selvin Young and Anquan Bolden.
No, I just don't give up Turner at this point. There's no way.
No, Turner's been playing good, but like I said though, he's got a stacked lineup. He's got plenty of room to maneuver. 529-1450 is the phone number. Good morning. You're on Fantasy Football 101.
How you guys doing?
Great.
I got 2 questions. One, would you play Jake Delhomme or Roethlisberger this week? And then would you play Deshaun Jackson or Dwayne Bowe?
Well, I'll take the first, but Delhomme, to me, is the easy pick. Roethlisberger's really banged up. He took a beating against Philadelphia. Delhomme should really, I think, this week have a good chance to excel against the Atlanta team. They're at home. Steve Smith's back for the second game. Boy, this could be a big Delhomme week.
I agree.
Kind of a tough matchup there for your receivers. Deshaun Jackson, Philadelphia's going up against Chicago, who's looked pretty good on defense this year. But on the other side, you have Dwayne Bowe against Denver. Well, that's a tough pass D there. I would go for Deshaun Jackson simply because I think Kansas City is just awful.
Yeah,
All right, thanks, guys.
They're bad. No problem. 529-1450 is the phone number. Taking your phone calls all morning long till 9 o'clock. Fantasy Football 101. Good morning. Hello.
Who's this?
Who's this? This is Sports Radio 1450. How you doing today?
Pizza Hut.
Must have been a wrong number. I don't know who's eating pizza in the morning, but
Good question.
I guess I might.
Fantasy Football 101, hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, guys, my wife thinks that fantasy football has something to do with the cheerleaders.
Well, hey, why not?
Have a good day, guys.
Yeah. I got to stop my family members from calling.
Well, Mark was running through a lot of the injuries, and he got through some of them pretty quick. So let's run through some of the big names again, too, because there's a lot of other guys that I had on my list, Mark, that I don't think I heard on your list, but both Fargas and McFadden out for Oakland this week.
They're out?
I saw, anyway, in the latest. Yeah, I just saw NFL.com if you want to check that out. Both out. So Michael Bush, another good play this week if you have him on your roster. Unfortunately, though, Oakland has another tough matchup. They don't play Kansas City this week. They play San Diego. But, again, San Diego's defense, like we talked about last week, Eric, not that great. So Michael Bush, another good play this week, especially at home for Oakland.
Well, and if there's literally no one else to play, there's so many buys, so many injuries. You have to go with a guy like Michael Bush. I mean, you're going to see a lot of Michael Bushes being plugged in this week, and I mean it's the best you can do.
And especially after last week, a lot of people had Ronnie Brown on their bench, but he had a huge
I don't even want
play.
to talk about that. I don't even want to talk.
I want anyone who actually played Ronnie Brown, I want you to call in and impart your knowledge on why you made such a great move.
And
it was incredible how
we have an
shredded.
extra seat here.
Yeah, I know. I tell you what, but he shredded what I thought was a real good New England defense. And not just running, throwing the ball. Now watch, within the next 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to have about 5 more teams lining up their tailback, taking direct snaps and trying the same thing.
I couldn't believe I was watching college offense run so well.
Oh, I know.
Against the New England Patriots. That was blowing my mind. While one of my guys that was on my bench was... I'm sorry. I'm still hurting from that.
Well,